Hello, my name is Chantal Boyson and I'm from lmspaproducts.com. We are a spa company that specializes in a medical pedicure and manicure and situated in Cape Town in South Africa. If you want more information about our products, we are on www.lmspaproducts.com. And my email address is here on the screen, chantal@lmspaproducts.com. You're welcome to email me, send me questions. And even if you want to join our future webinars, please pop us an email. We'll put you on the list and we'll make sure that you never miss out. So today we're going to do a webinar about something a little bit different. I'm not going to talk too much about products and ingredients and how to apply the products. I think what's very important at this time is that people understand how products work, how shelf displays work, how we need to market to our clients, and how we sell, because I think that it is a new way and a way that is forever increasing. So the things that we are going to talk about today are the types of products and where does LM fit in the bigger picture. We are going to talk about the types of clients who come through your door, the future of retail, which is a very interesting subject on its own. Then we're going to talk about personalization of your service, convenience, which is a no-brainer. I'm going to talk about something called complexity, making complex things very simple for your client and how important that is. And then I think one of the most important things, obviously, creating trust in your clients and being real. We are going to talk about a lot of loose things today. So for you, it might feel that we jump from one thing to the next, and that's okay, because as you follow these webinars, they're going to start making sense to you. So just bear with us. For me at this stage, you as the LM distributor or the LM client or the LM salon owner or therapist, I just want you after this webinar to have some insight, and I want to ignite some potential in you to start looking differently at things. And to start seeing products differently so that you have a better insight into where LM fits in. Okay, so let's start off with the three types of products. Now, this applies to everything and anything. There are three different types of products that we get. The first one, of course, are the commodity products. The second one is what we call heartfelt products. And the third one is what we call the sexuality products. I'm going to explain these three to you now. The commodity product, and maybe you're watching this video somewhere else in the world than South Africa, but you might still be familiar with washing powder. For the example, here we've used Omo, which is a South African washing powder, but it's also marketed elsewhere. This is a commodity product. In other words, it's a product that has a limit to its price. You cannot put a brand on Omo and charge $1,000 for it. It doesn't matter how fantastic the branding is. It doesn't matter how great you market this product. It has a limit to what you can charge for the product. So washing powder is a commodity. It's also something that we buy every month, that we are often very brand loyal to. And yes, as I said, it has a price limit. The second one is the heartfelt product. Now, this is a very interesting type of product because it is, I wouldn't say new, but I think new to the consumer. And in South Africa, we have a brand called Woolworths. This is not the same brand as you have in the United States with Woolworths. Woolworths in South Africa is a food store very similar to Marks and Spencer's. They focus on organic brands. Everything that Woolworths does is focused on the environment, on doing products that are free range or not added preservatives, or added colorants. The packaging is all recyclable. They care about the environment, etc. So this is the Woolworths brand. And what they do is they have a very specific belief system. So when I walk into Woolworths, what I do is I feel safe there. I feel like I'm buying into their belief system. Everything that I do there is good for the environment. So if my belief system is one of protecting the environment, caring for animals, buying things that are organic, then if I walk into the Woolworths store, that's exactly what I do. I enter their world and I feel safe inside their world because we share that belief system. Price on a heartfelt product is secondary. In other words, we are willing to pay a little bit more for something. In a normal fruit and vegetable store, you might pay $1 for a celery stick, but when I walk into a Woolworths store and I feel part of their belief system and part of the Woolworths world, then I may be willing to pay $2.50 or $3 for the same celery stick because it's packaged in a beautiful, environmentally friendly packaging or whatever it might be. Okay, the third type of product you get is what we call the sexuality products. And these products, their price is not indicative. So there's no limit to pricing. You can charge 30,000 Rand, you can charge 300,000 Rand for a pair of shoes because you are selling somebody an identity. You are selling them you're selling them a sexuality. So when I'm wearing Jimmy Choo shoes, I certainly feel sexier. I feel more like a woman. When I'm wearing Chanel perfume compared to something that I just buy in my local drugstore, I feel more like a woman. I feel expensive. And when you sell sexuality products, the upside to that really is that you can charge anything. It is very expensive to brand these products, of course, and to get there. But Louis Vuitton, Jimmy Choo, Chanel, these are all examples of sexuality products. Okay, so we've covered these three products, as I said, commodity, heartfelt, and sexuality products. At this stage, I want to explain to you where LM fits in, because LM is a part of the second category that we discussed. LM has a very specific belief system. And at the same time, I'm going to ask you, your salon or your spa, is it perceived as a consumable or a commodity where people just come and have pedicures? Or do you have a belief system? Is there something, is there an identity around who you are and what you do? I think that's a very important thing that you need to write down and really think about. Spend some time on this and think about what is your identity. When we become a consumable, in other words, when we become a salon or a spa where people just come in and out, and they just do their pedicures, and they don't really care about who you are, who the therapist is, or who the brand is, price is fixed and they will only be willing to charge a certain amount for that pedicure. The minute you have an identity or you're part of a belief system, when they enter your spa, they know that they're paying a little bit more, but they feel safe because they're part of your world. So what world are you creating for them? I can give you a heads up and tell you that this is not something that you are going to figure out like this. If you haven't done it before, spend time on it, think about it, go through a couple of months and really find your identity and meditate on it and refine it. And everything in your spa and salon then should talk to that belief system. In other words, the packaging, the menu, the way that you answer your phones, the clothes that your therapists work, everything should then talk. Every touch point should talk about that specific belief system. It doesn't help that I'm a natural spa and I preach organic facial care, but I send my clients home with a plastic bag. So every touch point in your business there needs to line up with your belief system. So let's look at LM's belief system, and it's a very defined one. LM reveals your inner wisdom and functionality of your body. LM looks at why the body reacts in a certain way and the body's instinctive intelligence. And our products are designed around this. I'm going to give you a very short example. When we designed a pedicure, we looked at why does the body react in a way and form cracked heels. And we realized that most people go for pedicures and they say that their heels are always cracking. And we realized that the body has a mechanism where when you cause friction on the skin, or you file the foot, or you overfile the foot, or you blade the foot. The body has a mechanism to protect itself. So with the overfiling or with the blading of the foot, a message goes to the brain. The brain tells the body that it's in trouble, and it tries to protect itself, and it then forms a callus. So this is an instinctive intelligence of your body. It's a functionality of the body, and we were designed like that. And there are many other examples that as you explore the products in LM, you'll see that with each product that we develop, we looked at the instinctive intelligence of the body, and then we design a product around that. Okay, so that is who we are. Okay, so we've looked at the different products. Now let's look at the different clients, because certainly if you own a salon or spa, all people, everyone that walks right through that door, they don't all look the same. And it's important that we understand who are the clients, that they're different, and of course that we handle them differently. I'm not sure I'm going to couple my geriatric clients with a very young liberal therapist. I might pair up my clients with my therapist appropriately. But let's look at who are the different people that walk, customers that walk through your door, and what they stand for. I think we're all familiar with the term millennials, and we all deal with them. Sometimes there are a lot of frustration, and people like Simon Sinek has a lot of insight into the millennials that you can Google, and it'll make you understand them a lot better. But the core thing around this generation is that they seek meaning. Very few of them will enter into a brand or into an engagement or a relationship with a product or a service if there's no meaning to it. So they are always looking at things. What does this brand do for the environment? What do they do for the earth? What are they doing for solar heating? That is what they're looking at. Things like Uber, are they going solar power? Airbnb, so we're doing less construction. The influence and the effect it has on the earth is less. What are we doing about microbeads in the earth, and how is it affecting our oceans, and et cetera, et cetera? Are they testing on animals? Are they using recyclable materials? Those are things that the millennials have been wired to look out for. And when that's your client, that is something that you have to make sure that you offer them. Then we have our more mature client, older people, I would say above 50, 55 maybe at this stage in 2017. They are routine and stability seekers. So these are people that want to come into the spa every time. They want to sit in the same place. They want the same therapist. They don't like change. They probably want exactly the same thing. And sometimes they even ask that they want to pay exactly the same price because they don't like change. They want the stable routine that they grew up with. So that's your more mature client. They would always ask for the same color varnish. Then the generation that I belong to, people that are up until about 45, 50, in this era is Generation X, and this is what we call the fun-loving and convenience generation. It's the generation who grew up with Cyndi Lauper, who girls just want to have fun, and it was all about you couldn't wait to finish school just to go overseas and work in London, and it was all about having fun and entertainment, and we were never about stability and routine, although our parents wanted to impart that to us so desperately. We were just about fun-loving things, and we wanted it easier than our parents had it. We were very keen on getting things that gave us convenience, that was quicker. The generation that first was introduced to the ATM and the cell phone, things like that. So we are convenience-driven and fun-loving. A reason why a lot of the cosmetic brands that appeals to this generation has fruity flavors and bubbles and things like that. Also convenience. We want things quick, we want things fast, and we want it when we want it. Okay, so we've talked about type of products. We've talked about different clients that walk through your store. I hope I've got your interest here. Now let's talk about something called the pull versus the push. We all know, we've all heard this terminology. And I just want to explain it to you in a broader sense. I'm going to use Apple and Toshiba. I hope they forgive me for this. As examples, just to explain to you exactly how different people do things, and so that you can see where you make mistakes and where you do things right. Okay, so let's look at the methods of advertising these two brands use. I'm going to be very blunt about this, that I'm an Apple fan. And the reason why I like Apple so much is because Apple is a individualist. If I think if I could have dinner with Apple, it would be a person that was a forward thinker, that thinks differently, and that doesn't really care about how other people perceive them. They are shifting and always pushing the boundaries and reinventing themselves. And also they are a company that believes in excellence. We can see that every single touch point when you buy a MacBook Pro, from the minute that you order it, you open the box, the inside of the box, the chargers, everything, the way the screen opens, the way when you open the product, everything is just immaculate, and every touch point speaks of excellence. But let's look at the way that Apple markets. Now, in South Africa, we have a pest of spam callers, and I recently discovered a wonderful app on my phone that actually stops all the spamming. But we have calls coming through all the time where they ask your name, and then it would be insurance or gym contracts or medical insurance, people wanting to sell to you. Now, I know that many of you understand this and you're familiar with it. And the minute that phone rings and the person asks me, am I speaking to Mrs. Boyson? There's rage inside of me. But the only thing I can think about is putting down the phone. That's the only agenda I have at that stage. Still, we do that to clients. We hate it when brands do it to us, but we still cold call to our clients. So first of all, I've never heard of an Apple branch cold calling their clients. They don't do that. Many other brands do it. Apple will never do that. Let's talk about flyers. I often see at the traffic lights people handing out flyers. Toshiba would do this on a regular basis. Computer shops would do this. They would hand out flyers. I've never ever seen Apple hand out a flyer. Social media and roadside banners. Let's look at that. You would see a massive Toshiba roadside banner, and it would say, buy the new Toshiba banner. It's only $5,000, $2,000, and you get a 10% discount. What would Apple do? Apple put a beautiful picture of a skyline on a roadside banner. Maybe the skyline of New York, or maybe the skyline of Dubai. And at the bottom of the banner, they would say, this picture was taken with an iPhone X or an iPhone 8. But they would give you something beautiful and then tell you an Apple brand or Apple product actually took this picture. So it's a very different way. The one is pushing you, the other one is pulling you. They do the same thing with their social media. Even when we go into their stores, an Apple store is not a store where you go in and you purchase their products. They are pushing us to buy their products online. So what are the iStores for? Why are they there? They're there so we can go out and play. They are playgrounds. They're there to get us familiar with things so we can become comfortable with products. And there are no limits in an iStore. So you walk in, there's Wi-Fi. They're not going to tell you you can't Google anything. You can play on any of their products, iPads, MacBooks, the most expensive ones, even the least expensive ones, their phones. Everything in that store is geared for you to come in, to be invited into a play area so you can experience the product. The retail area is not an area stacked with products, shelves full with discount banners telling you prices. The prices are actually in an iStore are very discreet, and sometimes you have to actually look for them to find them. So the store is not geared at selling you anything. The store is geared for you to come in and play with the product so you can become comfortable with it. And the next time you choose a product, you'll feel so comfortable with an Apple product that you'll opt for the Apple product. And I think this is a good time maybe just to think about how comfortable or how much of a play area is your spa. So do you have a retail area where the products are behind closed doors, maybe locked up? Clients only see sale, 20% off, 25% they punted to sell or to buy from you? Or is it an area where people can experience products? Is it an area where I can go for a pedicure and halfway through my pedicure while my mask is on my feet, she actually lets me experience a lovely hand scrub complimentary. So I can play and experience with the products. Telling people about cosmetics, spa products is really not enough. People need to feel it, they need to smell it, they need to experience it. Okay, so we've talked about the retail area and the sales area. Now let's talk a little bit about the perceptions and the people behind the selling and the pushing and the pulling. I'm going to touch on 4 separate ideas, and I'm going to use other brands to explain, familiar brands that you know and that you experience all the time. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by these 4 subjects through these brands. Okay, so we're going to talk about personalization, trust, convenience, and as I said, simplicity. Let's start off with personalization. And I love this brand. It's called Stitch Fix. It is a clothing brand from the United States. And I think it's the new way of doing clothing shopping. So we all know that you can buy clothes online and it's the way it's going. This brand has actually taken it one step further by personalizing the experience you have when you buy clothing. So what they do is they send you a box of clothes every month. Well, the first month they send you the box of clothes, and they might send me this gray sweater with a white t-shirt. I'm wearing blue jeans at the moment, and it's cold today, so I'm wearing boots. They also send you jewelry, some earrings, maybe a bangle, and socks. All the accessories comes in the box. You then open the box, and in the box is a piece of paper where you stipulate whether you are a $39 an outfit client, you're a $99 client per outfit, or do you fall in the category of paying $200 or $250 for an outfit? So first of all, you need to tell them exactly who you are and what you're willing to spend. You then put on the clothing, and you specify your size, of course, if you send the clothing back to them, you have to tell them why. So, for instance, I would send back a box and say, I don't like green. I don't like pants with pleats in the front. It's not good for my size. I don't like frills. I'm sending this top back because it has prints on it, but I'm keeping the pants, the khaki pants, for instance. They have algorithms. So what they do is they adjust these algorithms every single month. And by the 3rd month, they reckon that they have you figured out exactly. So they know exactly what colors you like, what you don't like, what they shouldn't be sending you, and what they should be sending you. And then what they do is they send you a box of clothes every month to your house, and it goes with your credit card. And it's a complete box of clothes with all of the accessories, everything, from the earrings to the necklace, the socks, the shoes, the whole toot. So that is, I think, extreme personalization. We see personalization, of course, also on a website like Amazon, where you might also like products like this. You previously liked that. Or for instance, if you go onto Pinterest and you look at pictures and you once looked at a picture of a girl with a tattoo, every single time you'll go onto Pinterest, there'll be pictures of tattoos in between. So that is personalization at its best. How do we personalize in the spa salon? Let's just land this quickly, anchor it a little bit. I think client cards and profiles are very important. You need to understand what people like. If a client says to you, oh, I really don't like a sugar scrub on my hands, it's something that needs to be noted. and you need to take note of it and put it on her client card so that you don't use it next time. Personalized mailers, I think, is also a very good one. MailChimp makes that very easy for us. Do you know your clients by name? And welcoming boards with their names on it. This is something that I saw not in the spa industry, but rather in a marketing company, actually, that I visited once. And I walked in the door and I had a meeting with a gentleman, and right at the reception, there was a flat screen. It was a digital frame, actually. And on the frame, it says the company's name, Welcome Chantal Boyson. I looked at it and I thought, oh my goodness, this is so personal. It made me feel so special. I want you to sit back and think just for a second, if the next time you walk into a spa and you're going for treatment and there was a digital frame and it said, the Cape Town Spa welcomes Chantal Boyson. How special that would make you feel. So it's just an idea. I'm throwing it out there. Welcoming boards, that's a way that you can personalize things. Client cards, of course, if somebody tells you about their child, because people open up when they do therapy, tells you about their child or tells you about something that they did, or maybe they're pregnant or they're going through a divorce, or something, they're on their way to a lovely holiday in Mauritius. That's the type of things we would write on a client card or get reception to write on a client card. And the next time they come, your therapist should be reading the client card just before the client arrives, because that is what you would be talking about. She sits down. The first thing the therapist should be asking is, how was your holiday in Mauritius? We all know that it's completely impossible to remember everything about every single client, but we know that it's possible to have client cards. And if you don't want to do it in writing, then do it on a computer. There are wonderful systems that we can do this on. Okay, so the second thing we talk about is, after personalization, is trust. This is something that's very important in this time where we live right now. Trust, I know for myself, when I go onto Amazon and I do shopping, the very first thing I do before I read what, let me think of a brand, what Apple has to say about the new MacBook Pro or the new iPhone X. Before I read what Apple has to say about the new phone, I read what the fellow buyer said about it. I want to read the reviews. I want to hear other people's opinions, and that creates trust. So are you creating an environment of trust? Are you taking the time to do testimonials? Are people writing on your social media? Are they giving testimonies of their treatments? Are they telling other people? Because I would believe a fellow person, a fellow client who says, oh, you've got to try this spa, they are just phenomenal, the treatments are so well, I would believe them more than I would probably believe the spa owner. And that's just the way it is. So that's the way we create trust, is through customer reviews. Make sure that those customer reviews are on your social media. Don't fake them, because people know. Make sure that they are on your website. Make sure that people talk about your and you evoke conversation on your social media so people can talk about treatments. Incentivize them to talk about your products. If they come and they have a pedicure and they write something on your social media, on your timeline about the experience, maybe post a picture, give them a 10% discount voucher the next time they come. So create that type of trust. I love this brand, Patagonia. I think it's an American brand. I'm under correction. I think so. But it doesn't matter. What we want to talk about is their Don't Buy This Jacket campaign. It was called the Transparency Campaign, and I thought this was brilliant. What they did was they realized that they were very cruel to the environment. These people used, I think, I'm under correction, Patagonia, don't crucify me here, but I think they were using 12 to 14 liters of water to dye every single jacket that they make. And they wanted to fix this. So instead of going behind closed doors and trying to fix it, they went completely transparent, and they started this campaign where they said, don't buy this jacket, rather reuse the jackets, repair your jacket, and recycle your jackets. Rather buy a repair packet that you can repair your jacket with, but don't buy this jacket. And we're going to tell you why you shouldn't be buying this jacket. You don't buy this jacket because we are using 12 liters of water to dye this jacket, and we want to get it down to 2 liters. Give us 18 months, we'll get there, and as soon as we get there, we'll let you know. Of course, this was the first company that I know of that was so completely blunt and open with their transparency, and also transparent with their, I don't want to call it a secret, but with what they knew they wanted to fix. And what happened was the sales went through the roof with this jacket. People were actually buying more of this jacket. And the reason for that is it's not what Patagonia wanted, but the reason for this was that people are so hungry to trust a brand. They're so tired of being lied to. They really want to just invest all their trust and really believe somebody. So yes, Patagonia didn't go in with this in mind, but this is the effect it had. Brilliant. I think in this spa, be transparent about expectations. Don't tell people your pigmentation will be gone in 24 hours. Don't tell people that they'll lose 10 kilograms in 1 week. It is impossible. Be transparent and truthful about your expectations. It's important. People are very hungry for the truth, and they come to you because they trust you. We start out by saying at LM, we say that we cannot remove stretch marks. That's the very first thing we tell people when they invest in our body science range. We say the only way you can remove a stretch mark is if you go for laser or plastic surgery. You get some topical treatments that can make a stretch mark a little bit lighter. It can make it a little bit more narrower, less observant. But you cannot completely remove a stretch mark. I've never seen it. I've never seen an ingredient that completely removes that stretch mark. That's what we start out with. Before we talk to people about our pregnancy range, we tell them that. And then we say to them, but what we do promise is that we have a program, a synergy of products where we can protect your body against the forming of stretch marks. Now that's trust. Because we know that we're speaking the truth. We know we're not lying to them. We know we're not hoping that some cream is going to remove a stretch mark. We know 100% that if you follow the routine of going soap-free, of using certain products during your pregnancy and hydrating the skin, that the stretch marks won't form because we understand how the body works. So at LM, we always start out with the truth. Okay. The third one, we spoke about personalization, then truth. Now we're talking about convenience. And here I talk about a brand called Domino's. Not my favorite pizza. I don't like junk food too much. But Domino's is a master at convenience. They developed an app. Oh my goodness, this is just taking convenience to another level. If you think that your app that orders pizza online is convenient, you should see the 10-second app. This app, you open it up, it picks up on your GPS. It knows your favorite pizza because you told them what your favorite pizza was. And if you don't press stop within 10 seconds, it actually sends a Domino's pizza, your favorite pizza, to your location through your GPS. It just comes to you. It picks up where you are. This is another level of convenience that I think we haven't seen. And we need to start thinking about how convenient are we, because this is where people like Domino's are moving. I see that they are actually now with their menus, they ask you, are you going to walk to us? Are you going to drive to us? Or are you going to take a taxi to us? And by that way, they know exactly how long it's going to take you to get, because they have your GPS coordinates, how long it's going to take you to get to their closest store, and so that your pizza is at the perfect temperature. I see they also have ovens now I think it's only in Australia where they launched it. They have little ovens in the cars where the raw pizza is actually put in the oven in the back boot of the car. By the time they get to your house to deliver the pizza, it works out exactly how far it is with GPS coordinates, how long it's going to take. The pizza is at exactly the right temperature when they stop at your house. That is a level of convenience I don't believe that we are seeing in many industries today. Another one, I think it's called You Cook or Daily Dish. is another one. It's the concept of buying a box with several different ingredients in the box, and it's for home cooking. So you don't need a recipe. You don't need to know exactly what to do. You don't need to go buy 17 products at a grocery store. They send you a box every day, or I think they send you 4 or 5 boxes per week. If you open the box, exactly what you like, say for instance you're a vegan or you're vegetarian or you're gluten intolerant, there's a recipe in that box to make your food at night. And if you order the box for 4 people, there'll be enough ingredients in that box for a meal for 4 people. You don't even have any salt or pepper left. Everything that you need for that specific recipe is in that box. Another level of convenience, I think it's the way we're going to cook in future. Again, I'm going to land this and just talk to you about the spa, your salon, and how convenient you are. Where are your products stored? Can I, as a consumer, can I try the products? Are they maybe locked in a glass cabinet? Are they priced? People feel very intimidated walking up to a receptionist asking for prices. Are you present online? Can they shop online? So say they work and they can't get to the mall and 9 o'clock is their time to shop. Are you on Shopify? Is there a shop button on your Facebook? I believe you can now even buy through Instagram. And then, of course, do we offer a takeaway service? I think this is something that's been reserved for the restaurant area for so long, but takeaway is an important thing that we need to offer in our salons. Assign one of your therapists and she can be your takeaway service. There are many people that want after hour service, many people that don't have time for the service. Okay, I want to use myself as an example. This is a hotel, the Table Bay Hotel. It's situated in the V&A waterfront in Cape Town. It's a beautiful 5-star venue, and we are a stockist of the spa. At the top floor, or next to the top floor, is the spa, and we weren't selling many of our heel balms in the spa. I'll tell you why. Because you have to walk. You have to get to the waterfront, go through a boom, sign in to security, get showed your parking. Then you walk to the hotel, get to concierge. You walk through the concierge. They show you to an elevator. You go up the elevator, walk through the gym, then get to the spa. Once you get to the spa, you go through past reception, go to the waiting area or the resting area of the spa. In the resting area, there's a glass cabinet that's locked. Inside is a wonderful cream called the Medial Foot Perfector. Absolutely impossible for anybody to find. It was the most inconvenient place to put the product. No wonder we weren't selling Foot Perfectors at the time. We started making changes, and of course, as we became more convenient, the product started selling more. Then the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is simplicity. Simplicity is a terminology I learned from a friend of mine. It's making complex things really simple. If a client walks in and they have a pigmentation issue, we are not going to go into all the levels of the epidermis and the melanocytes, and you've got to get really complex things and create simple stories. I love this pigmentation one. What we always say to clients is our age reversal cream has an ingredient that deactivates your melanocyte. Melanocyte's a little gland that you have in your skin, and it produces pigment or freckles. All we do is we deactivate that little gland so it can't produce any more freckles. That's it. We've made something that is really, really complex. If I have to explain it to you, very, very simple. We say it works exactly like Botox. When you inject Botox, it deactivates the muscle, so the muscle cannot compress and press up all the collagen. The melanocytes works exactly the same. So making really complex things simple for your client. Okay, what others did during winter and difficult times? That's a question I get very often because people struggle during winter times. And I believe that it's not necessary. You don't have to struggle during winter times, and it doesn't have to be difficult times. So I want to give you some examples of people who never struggled and who made it during difficult times, so that when you on a low or it's not going well in your spa, think of these people and how they made it work, how they thought about certain things. Let's look at this company, lovely. They're called Lush. They started as a handmade cosmetics product in the UK in the middle of the recession. I love what they've done. They display cosmetics in a vegetable store manner. So when you walk into the store, it's all about the scents. They smell lovely. And also it makes you think of food, makes you think of an old-time vegetable store. So what they did was, in the middle of winter, when people were just thinking about food, they launched cosmetics, but they made it look like it was a food store. So that's a different way of thinking about something. Is another company, it's a multi-billion-dollar company, sold for a lot of money. I'm not 100% sure how much, but I know it's sold for a lot. It's called the $1 Shave Company. It was a time when Gillette blades, they were dropping 17% on sales annually because people were not buying razor blades. People were saying, I can do with 7 weeks with my razor blade. I don't need to replace it every 4 weeks. The razor blade's expensive. So let me rather stretch it and replace it every 6 to 7, maybe 8 weeks, rather than replacing it every 4 weeks or replacing it when it's blunt. This guy came up with an idea and he said, why don't we do this on a basis where I send you a razor blade every month. You subscribe to me, the $1 club, and every month I'm going to send you a razor blade. So it's a subscription, and every month he ensures that you get a new razor blade. Yes, it's cheaper. You're now buying a razor blade for $1, but he makes sure that you replace that blade every single month. Another company I learned of, I'm not familiar with them, but a client of mine dealt with them. They were selling honey. And we all know what's happening in the world with honey and with bees. And they were struggling to sell their honey, especially at the price that they were trying to sell for the pot of honey. Honey is expensive. If there are not a lot of bees and the supply is not high and the demand's high, the price goes up. We all know that. What they did was, and I thought this is brilliant, they stopped selling pots of honey and they started selling subscriptions, a type of a subscription where you could buy a hive. So I would buy a hive in a nature reserve. It would cost me $10 a month. And when I buy a hive, I make sure that people take care of these bees, that they're protected, that they're in a safe environment, that they don't get moved around and overexposed. And I kind of buy into protecting the bee colony of the world. As a gift, they then send me a pot of honey every month because I'm a partner in this a wonderful purpose of saving the bees. If you think about it, I'm buying honey every single month for $10. I wasn't willing to pay $7 for it. Now I'm paying $10 for it. It is just switching things around, sometimes adding some goodwill to your product. And thinking out of the box. So don't ever say that it's winter, it's difficult times, it's recession, everybody's going down, business is slow. Think differently about business. Another example, I love this one, Capital One Bank. They're in America. They know the millennials hate them. Millennials don't like coming into banks. Millennials don't know how to fill in those forms. They feel intimidated. They don't like standing in lines. So what these people did was they made a yoga studio out of a bank and they placed a coffee barista inside. The guy who makes your coffee and the yoga teacher, she's your bank teller. Yes, just combining two different worlds, making it more comfortable for your client. Times are tough. Think out of the box. Think how you can change it. If people are flooding to the coffee shop and your spa next door is empty, maybe you should be getting coffee inside the spa. Maybe you should be turning half your spa into a yoga studio. So again, people thinking outside the box. Go Google it, Capital One Bank, brilliant concept. Okay, so let's just wrap this up quickly. Spend time on testimonials. Think about what you can do for your client instead of what your client can do for you. We always just think of how can I upsell to this client? How can I get more out of it? How can I get them to do maybe the collagen mask instead of just the normal mask, or maybe the collagen treatment and it's another extra $5. Instead of doing that to your client because they feel it, before they walk in, think of how you can give to them. If you understand that there's somebody that's limited in their resources, Give them ideas of how they can better their skin, what they can do. We sell a whole range of body science products for pregnancy. When people cannot afford the oil for the shower, we don't exclude them from our brand. What we say is just stop using soap and use any oil. Use a less expensive almond oil for the time being. Hydrate with anything until you get to the place where you can afford the LM product and everything that it offers. So think of what you can do for your client instead of always just thinking when she walks in that door, what I can get out of her. Instead of explaining ingredients, tell them stories. And in our next webinars, we're going to start telling you stories. I'm going to tell you how I developed the gold spritz. I'm going to tell you how I developed the Foot Perfect. I'm going to tell you all these stories because stories are things that people remember. Okay, let people play with your samples. Very important because once they experience it, they buy into it. And I think most of all, be fun to be around. People come to our spas and they come to our salons and they want to be in a good space. They want to be comfortable. It's just a great place to be in an excited, fun area. So always make sure that your therapists are in a good mood, that they're happy, and that they are fun to be around. Okay. That was a very long and lengthy explanation. We haven't even spoken about LM yet, but I promise in the next series, we're going to start telling you all about products and, as I promised, all the stories. But for now, I hope that I laid a great foundation on marketing and retail and that you have a better and a deeper understanding of your client and your products. My name is Chantal. I'm from LM Spa Products. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Or if you just want to pop me an email, chantal@lmspaproducts.com. I'd love to hear from you. Please give us some criticism. And if you have something to add, we love that even more than we like being criticized. But thank you very much and God bless. Okay. Dat is interessant, julle? Liz het daai tog al 700 keer gehoor.
Ja, die keer iets.
Ja.
Maar ek kom agter as jy nie ons skripte sien dan dink jy, dit is so interessant. Dus ek kom ek voel so sleg wat ek sê vir Jason skat. Chantal wys.
Ja, ek dink nie maar hy sê ek dink nee, maar jy dalk nie.
Ja, sê dit. Nee, want ek sien oorkyk, jy sê jy's op die 5de slide en jy het 6 om te gaan en jy praat al 40 minute.
Hoe lank het ek gepraat?
Ja, ek het amper 1 uur gepraat.
Rarig.
Ek dink so. Ja.
Ek weet nie, sê vir my dood eerlik, was dit vir interessant of het vir jou laborious geraak? Sê daarna kan luister vir 'n uur dan.
Ja, ek sal breek of wat. Ja, ek dink ons moet
Ek dink dit gaan opbreek nou.
Nee, nee, ons gaan hom hou definitief.
Maar die volgende is met ons 5 minute.
Power sessions. Ja, ek dink ons moet met soos 20 minute power sessions ook maak.
Ek kan nie hierdie goed vir mense verduidelik dat niks hiervan weet.
Ja, in 20 minute nie.
In 20 minute nie. As jy verstaan wat 'n commodity is, dan kan ek sê dat commodity products, as jy nie weet jy wat 'n commodity, nou weet jy. Het jy voorheen geweet wat 'n commodity is?
Ja.
Bianca? Ek het geweet dat 'n commodity is, jy nie, ja.
Ja.
Nie die gemiddelde ou weet nie wat die verskil is tussen 'n haatveld en 'n commodity produk nie. Nie as jy nie insight het in marketing nie. So jy kan nie regtig.
Moet jy nie vir Marcus optel nie?
Ja, maar hy gaan my bel.
O, okay. Ek moet net seker maak.
Wat hier so sien, kyk of ek hier reg gedoen het. Wag, ek gaan nog een laai.
Ek het net gesê stop video, né?
Ja, dan moet jy sê end meeting dat dit kan convert en
Sê nie end meeting.
Interessant pas jy op 'n slegte plek is. Sy besig het net